Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, station's ready for the event.
Indiana State Senate, this is Mission Control in Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Senator David Long of Indiana. How do you hear me?
Senator Long, I have you loud and clear, all the way from Indiana to the International Space Station. Welcome aboard.
Great to be here, Commander Ford. Thank you so much.
Well, David, I understand there's quite a little bit of a delay, and I know you all have some questions. I'll go ahead and say just a few words if I could. First of all, it is really great to have you aboard the International Space Station with me all the way from Indiana. It is an honor to be on the Senate floor with you there in the State House today. I understand it's a beautiful day in Indiana. I really probably should be at a window trying to get a good picture. I've had a lot of passes over the state lately that were unfruitful for me because of a lot of morning fog and clouds and snow. But that's what you get with the winter months. Anyway, my heart is there. Of course, I haven't been living in Indiana since I graduated from Notre Dame because I had a career as an Air Force officer. And then, of course, I've been at NASA now for about 12, 13 years. But I come there often, and my family's there. I understand they're with you today in the State House, and I really appreciate you having them there and taking good care of them today. As you know, some of you know my brother David, who served alongside you, and he was just as I'm honored to speak with you today. He was just so honored to serve in that group. He respected everybody and worked in the State House with him. And he just loved serving the people, and it's just an honor for me to be able to speak with so many of his friends that are still there, and people who know him and benefited from what David brought there. So it's a huge honor to be with you, of course, and it's also an honor. I'm very proud of where I came from, and I'm also obviously very proud of where I am right now. This is an amazing facility we have in space. Not that many people, really understand what we're all about here. We have about 150 experiments going on right now. Some of them inside the space station that I work with every day and as a crew member, and many of them outside the space station that the ground controllers in Houston are taking care of that we're not even aware of. And it's just, there are experiments right outside my window right now gathering data about the universe. Some of them alpha magnetic spectrometer, things about like dark matter and stuff that's really abstract. Other things on board like working with medical issues and stuff for the people on planet Earth. So it's really an important facility. One of the things I'm most proud about is that it's also a work done by an international group in cooperation. It is the one facility on the planet where some countries came together, countries sometimes with even very different interests. 15 of the most affluent countries who had a lot to offer, came together and thought about humankind 100 years from now and what we could do now to make a difference in the future. And I have Russian cosmonaut crewmates just literally 50 feet from me right now who I rode up and down with to get to the space station. I'm in a Japanese module right now. I was introduced to you by a Canadian Capcom that I was talking to just before I came on, and it's truly an international effort. And it really is, I think that it's going to make a difference in the future of the planet. It's really a program for the planet, I think, if you will. Another thing that's really cool about it is 90% of the world's population, if they know when to look, they can go out in the evening or the morning and look in the sky and see their space station fly over. So it's really a space station serving them and visible to them, and I just think it's just a really, really cool thing. So I'm really honored to be here. It's a short, even though I've been here a little over 105 days, and I've got just about another 40 on board. It's really a short stay for me. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and the the fact that you guys were to come on, be able to come on board with me and talk to me just a little bit about it while I'm here is really special. And hopefully I'll get to come back and see you and tell you even more about it when I get home, given that our short time our time is limited on board here. So with that, I'll go ahead. Like I said, there's a bit of a delay. I'll turn the mic off. And I think you have some questions for me that I'd love to answer for you.
Well, Commander, first of all, I want to welcome everyone participating today, and that means school children across the state of Indiana as well. And in particular, we wanted to note Mrs. Brown's first grade class at Seton Catholic Elementary School in Richmond, Indiana. We want to give them a special shout out. But to all the young people watching, hello and welcome. I have several questions, and I'll just ask them in sequence and let you answer them, Commander. The first one, you mentioned some experiments. Could you maybe describe the type of experiments you're conducting, and how will it help, that research help people on Earth?
Yeah, so we have a group of scientists on the ground, really all over the world, who really have had problems that they've wanted to solve, and a zero gravity, if you will. We call it microgravity, but it's essentially a zero gravity environment. Is a great place to solve these problems. Stuff I've worked on since I've been here. One is just 10 feet from me, was in a fish aquarium, and we had fish on board called Medaka that have bones identical to mammals. It turns out not all fish do, but these did. And as a science experiment to actually study the way bone is created and destroyed. And of course, astronauts, we lose a fair amount of bone mass while we're up here, and it's very closely related to osteoporosis. And they have a real good chance of making a huge difference in osteoporosis in the elderly in the future. And wouldn't that be wonderful if someday osteoporosis was a thing that we used to talk about instead of had to live with? We have that's some medical. We have a lot of different things that they look at us medically, because we're essentially almost in a bed rest state up here, not having to carry our own mass around all the time. So we really have to look at preventive measures, much like you'd have to look at with some bed rest patients and stuff on the ground. We also can use it as a test bed for spacecraft development. Out in the hallway here in the last few days, we did some experiments called capillary flow, where we're looking at how bubbles move around inside vessels. And I know if you've been in a hospital and you've seen maybe the nurse trying to flick bubbles out of the end of a syringe, by studying the way the surface tension works and stuff in bubbles in a microgravity environment with bigger bubbles, they can understand what's going on there. And someday that'll be a thing of the past too. We'll know how to control bubble formulation in vessels, and it's also applicable to fuel and fuel tanks and that sort of thing. Outside, we're looking at robotic refueling for someday spacecraft. We'll be able to visit, say, satellites already out there and robotically refuel them. We just did some stuff outside on the space station in the last weeks, made huge progress on that. And we also got some experiments outside called MISSY that are looking at the way materials handle the space environment. And of course, that's very important too for future spacecraft and satellites that we want to last a long time. So it's just, that's 4 mentions of a broad brush. I mean, there are literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ideas, about 150 going on at the current time. So it's pretty incredible what we can do.
Commander, our next question is, education is a big issue for us here in Indiana. As a graduate from Blackford High School and Notre Dame, both here in Indiana, what classes did you take in high school and in college to prepare yourself for the life of an astronaut?
Well, let me tell you, when I was in high school, I didn't see myself as an astronaut. I certainly would love to have been. I was in love with aviation. I saw myself as a pilot at that time. And I enjoyed physics and math and science. So I took the things I enjoyed. And I would encourage students to find the areas they really love the most and just put their heart into those. All of the subjects, it turns out, to being an astronaut are very important. Language skills, I spoke Russian in the capsule coming up and down, and without a good fundamental knowledge of English and language structure and that sort of thing, you're not really prepared to go out and do that. So the liberal arts are also just very important to a lot of the things we do, and of course communication and stuff is a big part of what I do now. But like I said, at that time, I wasn't really thinking about it. I was just thinking about taking a lot of math and science and physics and the things I enjoyed. And then when I went on to Notre Dame, I studied engineering because it's just what I loved. And I wanted to be a pilot, and I wanted to understand exactly how the airplane works before I went to fly them and enjoy that part of the career field too. So I just prepared myself by taking the classes I liked, worried more about the learning, I think, than the grades. Just learn as much as you can for those students out there.
Well, we have another question. Essentially, you answered a little bit. You do speak Russian, but we were wondering what it's like to be in space with fellow astronauts from other nations, in this case, Russia and Japan. And is there a language barrier, a cultural barrier? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, there's not as much as you'd think. Obviously, different kinds of foods, different kinds of traditions, but we enjoy learning about each other's traditions. The cosmonauts on board, when I celebrated Thanksgiving up here, there were just 3 of us, me and my 2 Russian cosmonaut crewmates, Oleg and Yevgeny, who I flew up on the Soyuz with. And they came down and enjoyed Thanksgiving dinner with me and asked a lot of questions about it, and I do the same thing. The Japanese astronaut is gone now. I was here with Akio Ishide for a bit, and he's speaks great English. The cosmonauts speak very, very well in English as well. And we have to learn some Russian because in the spacecraft, the Soyuz spacecraft itself, we do speak Russian. The ground controllers are speaking to us in Russian, and that's just the language of operations. All the books are written that way. So we have to study those. And frankly, to get through that language barrier, you just need a lot of study time. Thousands of hours of time I've spent studying Russian over the last 10 years, to prepare for the flight. But it's all something, given the amount of, given some time that you can get to, and we speak a little bit of what we call Russlish. They'll speak usually English to me to try their English, and I'll see if I understand that. And when I have a question for them or I go to them with a request, I try to do it in Russian. And that's just it's a good operational technique, and we sometimes use both languages to make sure we get the point across.
Well, Commander, we have a couple of special guests here with us who each are going to ask you a question. It's Joel and Kelly Neff from from Indiana. I think you know the family from Montpelier. Joel is going to give the first question, and here he is.
What do you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and how do you eat in space?
Well, that's a great question, Joel, and welcome aboard the space station. It's great to have you here. We have a food lab in Houston and in Russia and in Europe that prepares food for us to eat, and they prepackage it. I do have some handy here that I can show you. So for breakfast, I'm kind of a boring guy. I kind of eat almost the same thing every morning. But one of the things I have is scrambled eggs, and they come dried, and they just have to be rehydrated. I hope you can see that. This says seasoned scrambled eggs on it. At the top there is a little place where we can inject a needle and inject 100 milliliters of hot water in here, and you give it 15 minutes, and you let the seasoning mix in, and you have yourself some scrambled eggs. And then I always grab some fruit also. This happens to be apples with spice, and it's already packaged as hydrated, and you just clip the package open, and you can eat the apples right out of it. So we sometimes get some food in cans too. Here's food from the European Space Agency, and it's packaged in a can, and it's just got a pull ring there, just a little pop top, so that we can just open it up and eat out of the can, and then we just throw the remnants away. So I'll go get that in a little bit. And then to drink, I usually have a little coffee for breakfast, or some orange juice, or maybe a breakfast drink or something, and it comes in just a little foil pouch with a mix inside, and then we inject water again into the top, just like we would those eggs, and then we just put a straw in here that has a clip, so that I can just let a little squeeze out. You can see a little juice coming out the top of the straw there. I'll squeeze a little out and have that for you. There we go, not too big a mess.
What is the first thing you're looking forward to doing when you get home?
The first thing I'm looking forward to doing is taking a shower, because I haven't had a shower in 107 days. But the second thing I'm looking forward to doing is really just getting some relaxation. The pace up here is pretty intense. We work a lot because it's expensive to get us up here. So even on weekends, we end up doing a lot of work. So I'm looking forward to just having a little time off. I'll have some time to do some rehabilitation. It'll be very difficult for me to work at first, to do anything really that involves muscles because of the gravity effect. It's just a really strange, heavy feeling when you get home. You're used to no gravity. Even holding your head up in space is effortless. So your neck muscles kind of get lazy. So just moving around. So I'll have to do a lot of rehabilitation and get used to the environment again. And then after that, start to go out and really enjoy some things. Of course, I'm looking forward to some of the foods you can't have up here. We don't have pizza. We don't have ice cream very often. We had a little bit when I first got here. And also spending time outside. I'm in an environment here that has all walls with equipment on all sides. We can use any of them as racks and science. We have science on the floor, science on the ceiling, and all walls. And so it's just a busy environment. So I'm looking forward to getting back out in nature again. That's what I'm really looking forward to most, besides family and friends, of course. So thanks for the question, Kelly.
Commander Ford, this is State Senator Tim Lannon, and I have another question for you. And it is, how important is it that the U.S. continue the manned space flight and exploration of space?
Well, I think it's very important that somebody continue it, of course, and I'd like to think that somebody will be the United States. We've always been a leader in space. We, frankly, are a country who is very blessed with a lot of assets and a lot of really great technical and technological skill sets, things that we can really contribute, I think, to the human race. And so it's almost, in my opinion, our obligation to do it, but I think we really ought to want to participate in it as well. It's absolutely true that space is the final frontier. That's where we're heading. Someday, a lot of people are going to know how to operate out here and live off the planet, and I think it's important that the United States participate in it. It's really a small part of what we do with our money is to explore. But I think the exploration is absolutely critical. We do it at home in our families. We spend time traveling and going out and seeing things. And I think as a race, we should go out and see what's out here, too. Learn how to live out here. And trust me, there is a lot of stuff. Since I've arrived on the space station, I've just had my eyes watered in terms of what this science up here is all about and what it looks like on board. So I'm looking forward to coming home and sharing that with you. And I'm just a real believer, even more so than I was 107 days ago when I first left the planet.
Commander, this is Senator Long again. Senator Land had a couple more questions, but we're running out of time. I want to reconvene the Senate at this time. We have a special thing for you from us, which we will all sign and give to you when you're back on Earth with us. The Senate is reconvened. There is a special Senate resolution, Commander, recognizing your tremendous life so far, all the wonderful things you've done as an Air Force pilot, highly decorated. I won't go into all the awards. The fact that you earned a Ph.D. in astronautical engineering while in the Air Force, the fact that you've had so many wonderful achievements in your life. At this time, without going into the details, I'm going to ask the Senate to join me in endorsing this resolution on behalf of Commander Kevin Ford. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution is passed. Commander, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been quite an honor.
Well, thank you to all the senators there and to all of you in the General Assembly and really all the people of Indiana. So I love the place. I can't wait to come home and see you. I have a little flag that flew up with me. It also flew up with me on Discovery and back down. So this flag has made all the trips to space I have. It will have the same amount of time I've had in space, and you'll be seeing it when I get it home to you. You all have a great Thursday and great weekend, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you, sir. It's been an honor.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.